Hey everybody, welcome to the market update for the 5th of October. Hope you guys all had a good trading day. A couple of things to look at today that we actually talked about yesterday. So I don't know if you noticed, we try to keep all the lines on the charts the same. And the reason I try to keep the lines on the charts the same is so that you can see what happens from day to day. So hopefully this will kind of help you get used to seeing, you know, the day-to-day changes and the day-to-day movements. That's the whole point I started to do this. So today, obviously, we had the S&P rocketing higher. I had mentioned yesterday that I didn't necessarily want to be a buyer unless we got a breakout. So there was a breakout potential. I'm not sure if anybody was able to take it on that breakout on some of this move. But today was definitely a kind of a gap and go, if you will, a strong breakout day. Look at it on a 15-minute time period. You do have a nice little area here. It would be good for a retest if we get a pullback into this range. But there's no way I'm shorting it down here, down to here. I'm not doing any shorting of this thing. I think that it's got plenty of legs to continue to go higher. That's exactly what we talked about yesterday. The NASDAQ, we had talked about if it breaks above this area to go long, and we got a 50-point move over that area. So hopefully you were watching the daily market update that we did yesterday, where we talked about getting long on the breakout above. And once again, we talk about the breakout because there's plenty of room for price to continue to run higher. And price broke out above that level in the NASDAQ. Now, where am I going to be a buyer? I got to wait for a pullback into a retest into one of these areas as a pullback. Crude oil. Yesterday, we drew this line here in crude oil right below here where we talked about was the breakout point to short crude. Today we retested that area and it was unable to hold, and price fell out of that zone. This is not one that I got short on today. Not one that I would have gotten short on. Still have this level way up here. I'm going to keep this on my charts, but for right now, crude oil in my mind, I think there's still a chance to get short if we retest back up into this level. I like this whole area up through here as a potential short when price comes back into it. And then gold, today, we left this level on here because I said if gold comes back into this zone, this could be a place to get short. Yesterday we talked about how there's an accumulation of sell orders here. Once price broke through, we hit it again, price moved down. I'm going to remove those lines. Those ones are done. Going forward, I'm not going to use that level again. So if I go down to the daily chart, we did yesterday say, though, that there's plenty of room for price to continue to fall. And I think that gold could easily get into this 1244 area. You've certainly got whole round number support there at 1250. But that 1244 area is a pretty good spot. So I think there's room for price to continue to fall down into that range. We're going to have a hard time getting through this, but I think that once we get through this, there's plenty of room for it to continue to drop. Looking at our bonds and three currency markets. So here is the ZN, which is our 10-year note. Still waiting on a level in here. I haven't really had a good trade in this in a while. There's really not been any strong reasons to get in anything in ZN. There was that little test off of here. I'm gonna put a level here for those of you that are a little bit more aggressive. This is a more aggressive entry for a number of reasons, not the least of which being that we stayed in this area a while, and the longer that we stay in the area, the more that means that those sell orders had to have been, I don't want to say completely exhausted, but at least eaten into. And so what I'll do is just look for, I'll put a little level around here, but I'm not going to consider that a super high probability level. And so we'll leave it on here, but I'm gonna change it here to a dashed line, just to remind myself that though it's a level, it's not as high a probability. If you're a little bit more aggressive, maybe you take an entry, let price come into this area, and then get short as it comes back out. If you really want to get in on that one. The Aussie today rolled over. We broke out of that level that we had talked about, where it was consolidating on a breakout trade. The one I want to talk about first is the Canadian dollar. So the Canadian dollar did finally get that breakdown out of this level that we had talked yesterday about there being a breakdown on the Canadian dollar, and we did get that breakdown And the Canadian, when it breaks, you typically get a pretty good break, and that has been pretty much stable for the last few weeks, right? Big breakdown, big breakdown, big breakdown. Every time it breaks through, it gets a pretty strong move, almost a parabolic move on the breakdown, and then it gives you another chance to get in on the next breakdown. If you go to the daily chart on this thing, that's exactly what we see, is that we've broken that, and I think there's room for price to get back down into here. Going to the euro, we talked about the euro as a short potential. I'm okay shorting another breakdown in the euro coming out of this range. Once again, my big picture target still is at that 1.15 area. So keep all these areas in mind. Hopefully these make sense. And if you've got any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or go ahead and reach me on, you can send me a private message on Twitter or however you want to get a hold of me. Once again, I apologize for the sound today, guys. I'm actually not at home on my normal microphone. I'm traveling, so I'm in a hotel lobby doing this for you again. So hope you guys had a great day, good trading day, and stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Later.